January 9th can look like a completely ordinary date. No fireworks, no big celebration, just another winter day that arrives in the middle of bills, grocery receipts, pharmacy trips, and the quiet pressure of trying to make your money stretch a little further than it wants to go. And if you're like many seniors I've spoken with over the years, you might be thinking, why is everyone suddenly talking about this date? You might be hearing whispers online. You might be seeing posts that sound confident but don't offer real proof. You might be feeling that familiar mix of hope and frustration because every time the word stimulus shows up, it touches something deeper than money. It touches safety. It touches dignity. It touches the question that so many people are tired of carrying. Will anyone actually help, or are we on our own? If you've been worried, curious, or just plain exhausted from uncertainty, I want you to hear this right away. You are not alone, not even close. My name is Susan Harper. For more than a decade, I've had the privilege of helping American seniors protect their savings, stretch their retirement income, and feel calmer about the future, even when the news feels confusing. I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to promise you things I cannot prove. And I'm certainly not here to add to the noise that makes people feel panicked, pressured, or manipulated. My job, and truly my passion, is to slow everything down, explain what matters in plain English, and help you feel steadier in a world that often seems designed to keep you anxious. So today, I want to walk beside you calmly as we talk about why January 9th is being mentioned, what it may signal about the direction of the economy, how it connects to conversations about stimulus or relief, and what seniors like you should realistically expect. No hype, no panic, no wild promises that leave you disappointed. Just clarity, care, and perspective. Now let's start with the simple truth. January 9th is being discussed because it's tied to an important piece of economic information. On that day, the government releases the monthly employment report, often called the jobs report. It's essentially a snapshot of the labor market. How many jobs were added or lost, what unemployment looks like, and what's happening beneath the surface of headlines and political talking points. And while most people don't read those reports, decision makers do, economists do, financial markets do, policy teams do, and yes, people who are watching for any sign that lawmakers might begin discussing economic support again, including forms of relief that sometimes show up as checks, credits, or rebates. The jobs report does not guarantee anything. It is not a magic lever that produces stimulus checks. It doesn't automatically create a bill. It doesn't print money, but it can influence the conversation. It can shift political urgency. It can make it harder for leaders to ignore what people are experiencing, because jobs data has a way of telling the truth quietly, in numbers that are difficult to spin. Here's the pattern, in simple terms. When the job market looks strong, when hiring is steady and unemployment is low, Washington often relaxes. Leaders feel less pressure to provide direct support. They can point to the numbers and say, "See? People are working. The economy is fine." But when the job market weakens, when hiring slows, layoffs rise, unemployment ticks upward, even by small amounts, that changes the political mood. That's when conversations about stabilization start to get louder. And sometimes those conversations include things like direct payments, expanded credits, targeted relief, or support for households facing rising costs. Again, I want to be very clear. This does not mean anything is guaranteed. It does not mean checks are coming. It simply means the jobs report is one of the signals that can push leaders toward discussing options. Now, you might be thinking, "Susan, I'm retired. Why should I care about jobs numbers?" And that's an important question, because seniors feel the ripple effects of the job market even if you haven't worked in years. When the labor market softens, it often means the broader economy is slowing. And a slowing economy can affect everything from retirement accounts to state budgets to the mood of consumers and businesses. It can influence how markets behave. It can influence what leaders feel pressured to do. And it can increase the chances that policymakers start talking about ways to support households. But the way seniors feel it most is simpler and more personal. You feel it at the grocery store when the same cart of food that used to cost one amount now costs much more. You feel it at the pharmacy when copays shift or coverage changes. You feel it when insurance premiums rise year after year. You feel it in utility bills. You feel it in rent. You feel it in property taxes. You feel it in the cost of home repairs. The cost of simply living has gone up. And for people on fixed incomes, that squeeze becomes tighter and tighter. Many seniors are doing the same thing quietly, cutting back, compromising, stretching dollars in ways that would have felt impossible a few years ago, and hoping something gives. So, when a date like January 9th starts circulating, it's understandable that it catches attention. Because when money is tight, people listen for any sign that relief might come, or that leaders are finally paying attention to the pressure households are under. But this is also exactly why we must approach this topic carefully. When people hear the words stimulus checks, emotions rise quickly. Hope surges because maybe help is coming. Frustration builds because we've heard promises before. Skepticism sets in because many proposals never become real. And sometimes anger shows up because it can feel like struggles are being used as political theater rather than being genuinely addressed. If you've felt any of those emotions, you're not wrong. You're not weak. You're human. But emotions can also make people vulnerable. Vulnerable to rumor, vulnerable to panic, vulnerable to scams, vulnerable to financial decisions based on money that does not exist yet. So let's talk about stimulus calmly and honestly. Stimulus is a policy tool. It's used when leaders believe the economy needs support. When spending drops, businesses pull back, and the risk of recession grows. The basic idea is to put money into households so people can cover necessities and keep spending enough to prevent a deeper economic spiral. Stimulus can show up in different ways. Sometimes it's a direct payment, money deposited into an account or mailed. Sometimes it's a tax credit, something you claim when filing taxes. Sometimes it's a rebate tied to specific conditions like energy costs or state budget decisions. Sometimes it's expanded assistance in other forms. But here is the most important truth I want you to hear, and I'm going to say it in the clearest language possible. No one can promise you stimulus money that has not been voted on, passed, and signed into law. Not a social media post, not a YouTube channel, not a rumor in a community group, not a headline designed to grab clicks. If it is not law, it is not guaranteed. This is where many seniors get emotionally whiplashed. A lawmaker can propose something. A leader can say they support an idea. A commentator can speculate. But that does not mean checks are being printed. It does not mean bank accounts are being credited. Policy must move through committees. It must be debated. It must be amended. It must survive votes. It must survive budget battles. It must be negotiated across competing priorities. And often, proposals change so much along the way that they become unrecognizable compared to the original idea. So my role is never to say, get ready, your check is coming. My role is to say, let's understand the signals. Let's watch patterns. Let's stay grounded in what is real. And let's protect you from making decisions based on hope instead of facts. Because when people act based on assumptions, mistakes get expensive. I've seen seniors take on debt believing they'll pay it off with money that never arrives. I've seen people fall for scams because someone claimed to process relief payments for a fee. I've seen people share personal information because a message looked official and promised guaranteed money. And I do not want that for you. Now, let's return to January 9th. The jobs report can influence the conversation in Washington because it changes political pressure. It changes the story leaders tell about the economy. If the numbers look strong, leaders feel more comfortable delaying new relief. If the numbers look weak, leaders feel more pressure to show that they are responding. But there is something else you should know, and it matters a lot. Certain months can be tricky to interpret because of seasonal hiring. In many years, businesses hire temporary workers during the holiday season. Retail, shipping, warehouses, hospitality, and travel-related jobs can increase temporarily. Then after the season ends, those jobs can fade. That doesn't automatically mean the economy is collapsing. It can reflect the normal seasonal cycle. That's why 1 month of data is not the whole story. I don't react to a single number. I look for patterns across multiple months. I look at revisions to previous reports because sometimes the government goes back and adjusts earlier numbers when more complete information comes in. I look at the direction over time because that is how you separate monthly noise from true change. So when January 9th arrives, what matters is not a dramatic headline. What matters is the trend and the context. Here are the key pieces that people watch in a jobs report, explained simply. First, the number of jobs added or lost. If the economy is adding jobs steadily, it suggests employers are still confident. If job growth slows or job losses appear, it can suggest businesses are becoming cautious. Second, the unemployment rate. Even small movements can matter because they may signal pressure building in households. Third, labor force participation. This can tell you whether people are working or actively seeking work, and it can influence how we interpret the unemployment number. Fourth, wage growth. If wages rise but inflation stays high, households may still feel squeezed. If wages slow while prices remain high, that can increase hardship. Fifth, revisions. Sometimes previous months get revised up or down. Those revisions can quietly change the story. Now, why would any of this matter for seniors? Because economic weakness can influence retirement accounts and market volatility, even if you don't trade stocks or follow charts. It can influence state budgets and benefit discussions. It can influence how leaders talk about cost of living pressures. And it can influence whether policies aimed at supporting households become a priority again. And this is why rumors connect jobs data to stimulus talk. People know that when pressure rises, policymakers start looking for ways to respond. But I want to say something gently and clearly. Even if the report looks weak, that does not mean stimulus checks are automatically on the way. Policy takes time, bills take time, negotiations take time, and sometimes nothing passes even when pressure is high because politics is complicated. So the healthiest mindset is to treat January 9th as a data point, not a deadline, not a do or die moment, not a promise of money. Think of it like turning on a light in a dim room. It helps you see. It helps you understand where we might be headed, but it does not decide your fate. Now, while we wait for clarity, whether on January 9th or afterward, there are a few practical things I want seniors to remember. Not because I expect the worst, and not because I want you to panic, but because preparation reduces fear. First, please do not make purchases or take on debt assuming any stimulus money is coming. If money arrives one day, that can be a blessing. But you cannot build your budget on a rumor. I have seen people swipe credit cards because someone online said checks were guaranteed. Then the check didn't arrive. The balance grew. Interest piled up. Stress doubled. If you need something essential, we can talk about safer ways to plan. But don't let speculation push you into debt. Second, take a calm look at your monthly expenses, not with shame, but with curiosity. Are there subscriptions you don't use anymore? Automatic renewals? Fees you've stopped noticing? Insurance plans that should be reviewed? Small leaks can quietly drain your income. A $5 subscription here, a $10 fee there, a premium that crept up. Those things can add up to hundreds over a year. Third, protect any emergency cushion you have, even if it's small. A few $100s set aside can turn a crisis into an inconvenience. Car repairs, appliance breakdowns, medical copays, unexpected expenses arrive at the worst times. Fourth, be extra careful about scams and messages that promise guaranteed relief. This is crucial. Scammers love uncertain times because uncertainty creates urgency, and urgency makes people act quickly. If you get a call saying you must verify your information to receive stimulus, be cautious. If you get a message saying you must pay a fee to activate your relief payment, be cautious. If you get an email with a link claiming to be official, be cautious. Real government programs do not require you to pay money to receive money, and no legitimate relief program will demand that you respond immediately under threat. If something feels rushed, emotional, or pressured, pause. Call a trusted person. Verify through official channels you already know, not through a link sent to you. Now, I want to acknowledge something that doesn't get said enough. Money isn't just numbers. For seniors, money is often tied to independence and dignity. It's being able to say yes when your grandchild wants you to visit. It's filling a prescription without agonizing over the cost. It's turning on the heat in winter without fear of next month's bill. It's buying groceries without feeling ashamed at the register. So when prices rise and fixed income stays the same, the stress isn't just financial, it's emotional. It can feel like the world is moving forward and leaving you behind. And I hear a sentence from seniors that breaks my heart every time. Susan, I just don't want to be a burden. If you felt that, I want you to know you are not a burden. You are a person who worked, contributed, cared for others, and built a life. You deserve respect. You deserve stability. You deserve to feel safe. The fact that the economy is unpredictable does not erase your worth. The fact that the system is strained does not make you less deserving. And feeling anxious does not mean you are weak. It means you are human living through a time that asks a lot of people on fixed incomes. Now, as January 9th approaches, I want to share how I personally think seniors should view updates like this. Not as a reason to obsess, not as a reason to lose sleep, but as a way to stay informed without being controlled by fear. If the jobs report shows strong hiring and stable unemployment, that may mean policymakers feel less urgency to discuss new relief. It may mean the conversation stays quiet for now. If the report shows slowing hiring or rising unemployment, that may increase the likelihood of more talk about support programs. It might lead to more proposals, more committee discussions, more public messaging about helping households. But again, talk is not law, so the smartest move is to watch the conversation without letting it dictate your decisions. Let's also talk about something that confuses many people: the difference between a proposal and reality. A proposal is an idea. It can be floated to test public reaction. It can be used to create headlines. It can be used to pressure opponents. It can be used for negotiation. Reality is when something is passed, signed, and implemented with clear rules. I've seen seniors ride the emotional roller coaster because the internet often blurs that line. One day someone says, "A bill is coming, checks are on the way." The next day the bill stalls. Then another rumor appears, then another disappointment. That roller coaster is exhausting. So if you want a simple rule, don't plan around anything until it becomes official, and don't hand your peace to people who profit from your anxiety. Now, while we're here, I want to address two loud extremes you'll hear online. The first extreme says, checks are guaranteed, big announcement, everyone is getting paid. The second extreme says, nothing will ever happen again. Stop hoping, you're on your own. Both extremes are usually wrong because reality is more complicated. Policy moves slowly, politics shifts, economic conditions change, proposals come in waves. Sometimes they build momentum, sometimes they fade. The truth often sits quietly in the middle. There are signals worth watching, but nothing is certain until it is official. Now, I promised you calm clarity, so let's be practical. If you're a senior feeling squeezed, here are gentle steps you can take right now that do not depend on stimulus and do not require panic. 1. Write down your essential monthly costs: housing, utilities, food, medications, insurance, transportation. Knowing your baseline gives you control. 2. Identify one or two flexible areas where you can reduce stress. Not by punishing yourself, but by adjusting. Maybe switching a plan, maybe negotiating a bill, maybe finding a cheaper pharmacy option, maybe using community resources without shame. 3. If you have debt, prioritize stability over speed. Don't chase quick fixes. Avoid high-interest traps. Avoid payday-style products. Look for steady, safe steps. 4. If you have family or trusted friends, consider having an honest conversation about budgeting and support. Many seniors carry stress silently because they don't want to worry others, but silence can make the burden heavier. And 5, give yourself grace. You did not create inflation. You did not design policy. You are navigating a complicated system. Adjusting is not failure. It is wisdom. Now, as we look toward January 9th, I want you to remember what the jobs report can and cannot do. It can provide information, it can influence conversations, it can shift political urgency, but it cannot guarantee checks, it cannot guarantee relief, it cannot replace the steady habits that protect you month to month. So the best way to approach it is like this: watch, learn, and stay steady. And if you see messages online that say you must act quickly, or you must click immediately, or you must pay a fee to receive your money, please pause, because that is often where scams begin. Scammers use official-looking logos. They use language that sounds urgent. They pretend to be from government agencies. They call seniors because they assume seniors will be polite. But you have every right to hang up. You have every right to say no. You have every right to protect your personal information. Real programs do not require you to rush. Now, I also want to speak to the mental and emotional weight of this moment, because it matters. Many seniors tell me they feel tired, not just from prices, but from uncertainty. When you're working, you can sometimes increase income, take extra hours, or shift jobs. In retirement, that option is limited or unrealistic for many people. So uncertainty feels heavier, because it can feel like you have fewer ways to respond. If you've felt that heaviness, you are not overreacting. When income is fixed and costs rise, even small increases become big choices. A $5 copay increase can mean one less meal. A $20 utility increase can mean cutting something else. It adds up. And the constant calculation can become emotional fatigue. So here is something I want you to remember. Your peace matters as much as your budget. Information is only helpful if it brings clarity and calm, not panic. Not every headline deserves your emotional energy. Not every rumor deserves a place in your mind. You are allowed to step back. You are allowed to limit news consumption. You are allowed to choose steady routines that protect your mental health. Now, if you are someone who wants to stay informed without being overwhelmed, here's how to do it safely. Look for official statements, not speculation. Look for clear details. Bill names, votes, official agency guidance, eligibility rules. Be cautious of vague language like big announcement, confirmed, or guaranteed without proof. Be cautious of content that never shows sources but always demands your attention. And if you ever feel unsure, talk to someone you trust before acting. Now, I want to make something very clear about my approach. I will never tell you to count on money that doesn't exist yet, but I will tell you what signs matter and why they matter and how to protect yourself while we watch. That's what we're doing today. So, as January 9th approaches, let's set realistic expectations. If the report is strong, it may quiet relief discussions for a while. Leaders may say, the economy is stable, even if prices still feel painful. If the report is weak, it may increase discussions about support. More proposals may appear. More messaging may show up. More rumors may spread. But either way, you stay steady. You do not let one report determine your emotional well-being. You do not let the internet rush your decisions. You keep your feet on the ground, because panic never helped anyone make a wise financial decision. Fear clouds judgment, and clarity brings control. Now, I want to leave you with a simple plan you can hold on to over the coming weeks. Step 1, pay attention, but don't obsess. One check-in is enough. You do not need to refresh the news all day. Step 2, verify before believing. If someone claims a check is guaranteed, ask, where is the official source? What is the bill? What is the vote? What is the signed law? Step 3, protect your information. Don't click unknown links. Don't share personal details over the phone. Don't pay fees for promised money. Step 4, protect your budget. Avoid debt based on speculation. Review expenses. Preserve your emergency cushion. Step 5, protect your peace. Talk to trusted people. Take breaks from anxiety-inducing content. Remember that your dignity is not measured by an economic report, because you are more than a number. You are more than a headline. You are a person who has survived decades of change, and you are not fragile. You have lived through recessions, inflation cycles, market swings, and national crises. You have already proven your resilience. Now, before we close, I want to say something directly to the seniors listening. You deserve straightforward information. You deserve respect. You deserve to be spoken to like the intelligent adult you are. You do not need sensationalism. You do not need fear. You do not need someone shouting, "Big money is coming," just to get you to click and share. You need calm truth. And my promise is this: if something becomes real legislation, signed policy, verified guidance, I will help you understand it clearly. If it stays rumors and speculation, I will tell you that too, because protecting you from disappointment is part of caring for you. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What has been the hardest part of rising prices for you? Is it groceries? Is it medication? Is it utilities? Is it rent? Is it the emotional strain of constant calculation? Share in the comments, not because you need to expose your private details, but because your story can help others feel less alone. So many seniors think they're the only ones struggling quietly, and they are not. We are stronger when we speak honestly and support each other. If you want more calm updates like this, without hype, without fear, without manipulation, please like, share, and subscribe so more seniors can find steady guidance instead of chaos. And until we talk again, please remember this: January 9th is a data point, not a destiny. It's a light in a dim room, not a verdict on your future. Stay steady, stay cautious, stay informed, and protect your peace. You matter, your security matters, your dignity matters. Thank you for being here, and thank you for trusting me with your time.